Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wellness Podcast. This is episode number 80. My name is Slater, and I'm here with Katlyn,
Hi.
and that's it.
We're
Just
flying
Katlyn.
solo, you and me.
Just us two. Sheesh. Well,
Oh,
what's
wow.
up?
It's only been us two.
I know, and we've had two guests in a row in our last two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing it. What's up? What's up with you? How's your whale sightings been?
I don't like whale watching in the month of June.
Hey.
We've been seeing whales, but it's been a lot of work to find them. Like, we've been covering a lot of stretches of ocean, and it's silly because there's so much bait around, and I don't know where the whales went. But we've been seeing humpback whales, lots of fin whales. We saw some dolphins yesterday for the first time in a couple weeks. So,
What kind? Atlantic whitesides?
yep.
That's like your primary. That's like your common dolphin, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we do see common dolphins, but not nearly as often as we see Atlantic whiteside dolphins.
What a cool dolphin to have commonly in the area.
Yeah, they're really cool looking. They're really pretty.
I want to say it's similar whale watching, but there's more than one whale. I mean, like there's 10 or 12 whales in the bay right now. I don't, maybe there's more than that, but like that, are in like near the beach, you know what I mean? Between Monterey and Moss, kind of like, not to the north, I guess. So yeah, whale watching still seems pretty good. I've been the wind kept me off the water for the last 3 days, and then today today was really beautiful. I did a survey on my boat with to get some insurance today, but my drive from Monterey to Moss Landing, the weather looked amazing, and it was like, why do I have to schedule this today? You couldn't have been on any of the windy days.
Well, I thought you said the weather was going to be bad though, so it ended up being a lot nicer than you thought.
It was supposed to be bad. Like the morning there was swell, but it was glassy. And so it was this evening that was like, it's windy right now. So it was that I was going to have to take my boat from Moss Landing to Monterey and do that. But I ended up not having to do that. So it all worked out.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a sheet of glass yesterday. No swell, so calm. And then today it was a whole different ocean out there. Like for 3 days, I'm sunburned. For 3 days, it's been hot. I've been in tank top, shorts, flip flops when I'm cleaning the boat. And then today I was like, it's cold. Like I have a sweatshirt on right now.
And so your sightings weren't that good, even though it was so calm, right?
Right. I mean, we had a great group of dolphins. But we ran for like over an hour after the dolphins trying to find a whale. And we finally had a boat that left behind us find one back where we'd already gone through. And we were like, how did we not see this whale? And then that was the only whale that was around.
Probably came in right after you guys turned around. It was probably coming
in
or
maybe second. We just went like a couple miles too far, one side or the other of it, and just didn't see it. Because we saw a Mickey whale, so it's like obviously we were seeing a whale, but it was not that. This was a humpback that we turned around for. So
you know what we this is crazy. Okay, imagine like an albatross has like a podcast, and this albatross is like, the podcast is about how many times whale watching boats and people out there turn 1 mile short of like seeing beaked whales or killer whales or blue whales.
They're like, I'm just gonna see how far these people get.
You know how many times I pass albatross and like they just like are a mile ahead of me in like a couple 30 seconds. They're just far away. Yeah. And it's just like you're like no, I'm just saying, like, can you imagine
if you could just ask them like where are the things?
But it'd be even funnier if there was a podcast that talked about it. It's like, oh, Slater on the Cabo today stopped 2 miles short of a sperm whale playing with a tennis ball, like, or something crazy.
Missed it again.
Speaking of sperm whale, Kate texted me this morning to listen to the hydrophone, and you could easily hear a sperm whale. Like,
oh, click, cool.
Click, click, click. Like it was, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Sperm whales, you could hear a sperm whale clicking. You could hear dolphins as well, and a humpback every once in a while. So you're just listening to 3 whales, like
all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, so it's but yeah, the whale watching's still good here, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure all the whales are going to come back because like a lot of the regulars that are from like Stellwagen Bank and stuff haven't really shown up yet this season, like haven't been sighted by anyone. So like the whales are somewhere, they're still coming. So it's just like we're on the weird lull right now, and it's a lot of work to find them.
I wonder if like it's like there's so much bait here right now too, and it's like there's a lot of bait, but is it very thick? You know what I mean? Like it just seems like I can see a lot of it, but we're not seeing a lot at the surface really. So I'm wondering if it's kind of the same thing. Like there's a lot of bait, but it's just hasn't like built up into those like huge bait balls.
Yeah,
that are, like
I mean
they're
the bait has been shifting a lot, but for like 4 days out on the northwest corner of Stellwagen Bank, there's been like thick layers of bait. And we're like, why are there no whales here? Not even like a minke whale or anything. So, but you know, we'll get them dialed in here pretty soon. I think some whales are starting to check back in, and we'll see what happens as the month goes on. But yeah, we saw another basking shark. Like,
just throwing basking sharks around like it's nonchalant
2 or 3
now.
days ago. Yeah, seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah. All right. See how it is.
And we had our first mola of the season like a week ago, which was cool.
What are technically like your exotic whales that can pop up near you guys?
Say
like,
whales.
Okay.
You
guys have sperm whales?
No. I mean, in deep water, sure.
You're on a bank, so most of the time, right?
Like 100 feet deep when we're on the bank.
Yeah.
Killer whales, pilot whales, say whales.
I feel like seeing killer whales. I mean, I've seen humpbacks in other places, but I feel like seeing killer whales in other places is just so like you just like, what do they do? You know what I mean? Like we kind of know a lot about the transients. I guess I wouldn't say we know a lot, but I mean we know a good amount. They're pretty well documented, right? And same with all the whales.
I mean, the whales off the west coast of North America are like such coastal animals that like they're better documented than most other places.
Yeah, but like your humpbacks are technically better documented, right, than here, or they just started earlier.
Yeah. The specific individual cataloging efforts started a lot earlier in the North Atlantic than most other places.
Yeah.
Mid 1970s.
Yeah,
it blows my mind that like, so the captain I work for, he's been doing whale watching since he was a kid. And like, just to think that there are whales that we see out there that are older than him.
Oh yeah.
You know, like he's had a very long career already. I mean, he's not like super old or anything, but it's just like, it's mind boggling to see this person that's like been doing this for 2.5 decades. And like, there are whales that we look at on our trips that are like older than him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we both have whales in our catalog or like in our Happy Whale accounts that are older than us, right?
Yeah.
And then second to that, it's like first time I saw Bumper, I guess I was 18. It's only like 9 years ago. Still, it's a long time to see one killer whale, right?
Yeah, like I mean, like we see Salt,
for...
right? She was first documented in 1975.
Sheesh.
Like she is a lot older than me.
Yeah. What is she, like 45 or
I think she's in her 50s at least, because 50, she wasn't a calf when she's first documented. Like this whale's potentially 20 years older than me. That's nuts. The things that she has seen in her life. Anyways.
I love the ocean. I love the ocean. So we got some, well, I guess that's our sighting updates between us two. Yep. We have, I guess, well, we launched a pretty exciting thing. We're still working on it, but we launched a website. And as of right now, the URL is thewhalenerds.com. Yeah. And you guys can check it out. And we're going to have some exciting things coming to that website pretty soon here, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the things that have to go into the podcast are like the not so fun things behind the scenes. And like, it takes us a while to like work out all the details, and it's a big labor of love behind the scenes. And then I feel like we're like, ta-da, we made a website, and people are like, cool. And you're like, no, but we're like, we really had to work on it.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not even the energy of making the website or anything, the content on it or it's like more of the fact that three of us have to get our schedules together to like, we try to do everything together. There's not very much that we do separately. So getting three people together one time a week, at least, to podcast, and then, a few times a week to do.
Yeah.
Somehow we talk for at least 40 minutes a day, each of us. It's not.
And
it's
maybe
not
like I call Slater and then Adam calls me, or like
vice
whatever,
versa. But
we figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a website, and it's pretty plain right now. But we're definitely going to add some new buttons on there pretty soon, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So it's been nice to have the website instead of just a Podbean website and stuff. Because it is cool that Podbean like hosts that for our podcast, but this will be a better place to centralize all of our information. So we'll still use like the Facebook for links about articles and things like that. But the website's going to be a better like place to touch base with us and like keep up to date on like bigger overall things that are going on with the podcast. And it'll be a better tool for us to use. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yep.
And then you're going to hear a future episode pretty soon about a new film that's coming out. And the trailer actually just dropped for it 2 days ago, I think. So you may have seen this like start to pop up in your social media feeds or like on YouTube or something. But it's a film called The Loneliest Whale, The Search for 52. So we actually inadvertently talked a little bit about it with John Calamakitis in our last episode 79. I don't think he knew that like they were getting ready to roll with it, but
I don't think so either. And I feel like they're kind of there was definitely some spoilers, but not like anything too crazy. There's the documentary is really cool, and we're definitely excited to share with you guys. I think it'll be like our next episode, right? Maybe.
Yeah. We'll probably put out a mini episode like we did with Secrets of the Whales, because we've been granted screening access. And so we're going to put out some reactions to the film, try not to spoil it too much. And then hopefully pretty soon we'll have more details about all the places that you can watch it. We're still getting all that information from them right now. So pretty cool. Loneliest Whale. It's coming out in July. So pretty soon. But we do have a couple news articles, and one of them happens to be about this may end up, I don't know, being a potential spoiler for the film.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's a scientific paper that came out that we've been wanting to talk about for a while. Adam couldn't be here today, but he's with us in spirit through this paper. So this is a paper that came out, let's see, in April of this year. And the paper title is Sightings and Satellite Tracking of a Fin Whale, Blue Whale Fin Whale Hybrid in its Wintering and Summering Ranges in the Eastern North Pacific. And this is a collaborative between quite a few different organizations along the California, Oregon, and Washington coastlines, as well as some collaborators in Mexico. And it's in Advances in Oceanography and Marine Biology is where it was published. So the article is talking about fin whale, blue whale hybrids, including Flue, which is a whale that Adam has seen. So I'm sure we're going to circle back to this topic again, but this was what was on the docket for tonight. But it does talk a little bit about the history of hybrids. And there has actually been fin whale, blue whale hybrids documented for over 130 years in not only the Pacific, but also the Atlantic. So it's not an unusual thing. It's not common, but it's not like totally out of this world. There have been whaling records. There have been sighting records for over 130 years of hybrids between fin whales and blue whales. And they actually also think that these hybrids are fertile because they have whaling records that show female hybrids that were pregnant at the time of capture. So that's like, that's one of those questions about like, is it a new species? Are the two species different enough to actually be separate species? Can they produce fertile offspring? They can produce fertile offspring. So it's just like makes things more confusing.
Did they know Flue did it say if Flue is a male or a female?
I believe Flue is a male, and he has a blue whale mom.
Wow. And they can do all that with a DNA sample?
Yep.
You can find out who your mama is.
It's the whale version of Maury. You are the mother. Let's see if I can find where it says it in the paper. Flue was identified.
Well, in that in Iceland in 2018, they captured that, and I remember the big controversy. Everybody was like, they killed a blue whale, and then they were like, we thought it was a fin whale, and then they ended up doing the DNA testing on it, and it ended up being a hybrid.
Yeah, and legally it becomes a big issue if it's a fin whale or if it's a blue whale, because they're allowed to hunt fin whales. They're not allowed to hunt blue whales. So then what? Do you get half a citation? Because
but I think it's like $100,000. You only get $50K for the fine.
I feel like you should pay double because it's such a rarity. It's like you killed a unicorn.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, so if you said they're fertile, right? So are these hybrid ones now mating with just a random blue or a fin, or they just choose whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because the fetus was documented in an animal they killed. So, and I'm not sure how much data has been done with blue whales and fin whales to like have that kind of analysis to be like, oh, this whale has like a quarter blue whale. Like, I don't know. Can you tell that? I don't know.
And so like so let's say Flue finds a female hybrid way out, way down to San Diego or something.
Yep.
And now they just are always making hybrids?
Maybe. It's a secret. They have a secret going on that we don't even know.
They just make a narwhal. Like,
anyways, so talking about Flue specifically, Flue has been visually identified 13 different times from the year 2004 to the year 2020, and has been sighted in the Gulf of California in Mexico in the winter of 2020. So like, not only do we have data from California, we have data from Mexico showing that this whale is using a wintering ground. That's really cool. A lot of people argue like, do our blue whales only go to Costa Rica? Do they also go up into Laredo? Do they go back and forth? Are they really two different populations? How much overlap is there? And now like, here's this hybrid that's just like, okay, I'm going to go to Mexico. Like, what?
See, and I wonder if, so let's say they're like, well, maybe his mom went there.
Yeah.
And what if the dad didn't go there? Like he went to Costa Rica. Like you have no idea.
Well, and so the mom's a blue whale and the dad's a fin whale. So does that mean that these blue whales and fin whales that forage off of California are intermingling in the Gulf of California in Mexico in the winter? Like, is that where this, like off Laredo, is that where this party's going on?
You know what's crazy is we know nothing about these whales. And it's funny because like we know quite a bit about blue whales, but we still know nothing about them, and we know nothing about fin whales. And I feel like we see fin whales very regularly compared to blue whales. Like, you can see them almost once or a few times a month. Especially it depends on where you're at in the world. Yeah. So it's like, what?
Well, and the crazy thing is about fin whales, if you like just look at like marine mammal guidebooks and textbooks, some of them say that fin whale breeding habitats may shift based on prey availability, and that those whales communicate that amongst themselves. So like, no one really knows like for sure where these whales go all the time. But this paper does talk a little bit about like habitat use and stuff on the wintering ground. So if you're really interested in learning more about that, I definitely would encourage you to read this paper. It is open access, and I will post the link in the comments when I post the episode link on our Facebook page. But yeah, it's super cool to like see the wintering range information. And there are lots of photos of Flue in here. So if you think you've maybe seen this whale, you can look at the ID photos. that are in the paper. And there is also a drone image contributed of Flue from Adam in the paper. So that's pretty cool too. Look at him doing big things.
It's so funny because it's so like fin whale-y body, blue whale-y pec fin, dorsal fin whale, you know? There's a lot going
it's
on.
like it's a really dark blue whale with sort of a chevron and blaze. And a fin
chevron
fin.
For the people at home it's the marking behind the blowholes, right?
Yeah, the chevron and blaze is like
or is it in front?
The arrow point that like looks like it's pointing down the back is the chevron, and then they sometimes have like this swirl of white as well, and that's a blaze.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put a fin whale photo on Instagram.
Yeah.
I took one recently.
Also, if you're on our Patreon, you can see my baby fin whale photos from a couple weeks ago. It was so cute. I didn't know a whale could be so cute, but here we are, fin whale babies.
It flukes up, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's photos of Flue fluking.
And so that's so funny because, and there's a fin whale, and I'm pretty sure it had a name off in Southern California.
Yes,
and it's been seen other places. And it's not like a high and dry fluke. He just like lifts his fluke up out of the water flat and then just kind of like falls back down.
Lays it back down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
it has a name. You know, oh man, it's gonna bug me.
Yeah, I've seen it, and yeah.
I've seen photos of it. I haven't actually seen it, but I've seen photos and videos of the behavior.
I wish that I was like, it's not that I wasn't into whales in 2014 or 15. Obviously, I like taking pictures of them, but I didn't have the people around me. I wasn't in a community of like people that were invested in like the research of these animals. And I was just working on a whale watch boat that, it's just more of an open party boat. And so I didn't have like, I don't know. I just didn't know. Like, how many blue whales I saw growing up so fortunate to see. I mean, on the fishing boat where I was out there on anchor fishing for sculpin and sand dabs and a blue whale right by the boat. I had this photo for so long on my Facebook that is like a blue whale with a container ship in the background of like, I took on this point and shoot Nokia camera, like a Cool Pix, whatever it's called. And I didn't even like photography then, like at all. Like I just had the camera because, and it's funny that like at the time, I feel like the captain and crew would have make fun of me for like pulling out my camera to like take pictures of a whale going by when we're fishing. Cause that's just how it was. Like, that's not how it was necessarily, but it's just like, they're just giving you crap. But it's just weird how many blue whales I like was so fortunate to see. And I didn't even faze me that there was like only so many left. And like,
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean,
learn.
And I wish more people had like an opportunity to really like step back and like appreciate how an encounter like that is. Cause like a lot of the time, like your passengers may not have gotten that either, like, dude, you just saw something that people pay thousands of dollars to try and go see,
like for like, people would pay money probably to like get a helicopter to fly all around the ocean and look for this. I guarantee there's someone that would do that for a bucket list.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, eating a cheeseburger, looking off on the fishing boat, looking at a blue whale swim by. And you know what is crazy about the blue whale though? The blue whale really started booming whale watching in Newport. Gray whales always were going by. We always did. And it was more of like a summer school, like school groups, and like during the winter it was just school groups going on the boat, and there's people on the weekends to see gray whales. But as I remember, like it was like we guaranteed blue whales all summer long. We went out of the harbor, and in Newport Beach there's a deep canyon right off, like we have blue whales literally within 1 mile of the beach. That's really close. Like and we've seen that here in Monterey too, right off Cannery Row. We've seen blue whales. But it's just like we used to, I think it was like 8 or 9 or 10 years ago that it was like we could almost guarantee blue whales all summer. And then obviously that changed. I guess they started spreading more. They started spreading further out along the coast. But kind of crazy.
I feel like there was a couple. So Flue, the last point I'll make about Flue, it prefers to be in the company of blue whales. So when it is sighted, it's almost always with blue whales, or it'll be in a loose aggregation of fin whales, and there's usually at least 1 or 2 blue whales around, is kind of my impression from the paper. And then this paper also suggests that the hybrids like Flue, because there's more than one out there in the world, both the Atlantic and the Pacific in the Northern Hemisphere have them documented. So in the Pacific, they think that this hybrid could be producing this mysterious 52 hertz call. That's part of what's in this paper here. So you'll have to watch The Loneliest Whale for more information, but that is a suggestion that's made in this paper. And we should have asked John Calamakitis this when we were talking about it, because I have heard him say before that he has seen more than one. He's definitely seen Flue. He's part of this report here, but over his very incredible career, he has seen hybrids more than once. So pretty
we
interesting
could have talked
stuff.
to John for a 17-hour podcast.
Oh my God, seriously though. Oh, and
like,
he was so awesome. He was like, I want to do another one.
I know. I think the reason why is because we kind of got off on little like one question, and then we'd be like, oh, that's so cool. And we'd like dive into that. And then we'd be like, wait, what were we actually talking about? And then we'd go back to that. And then we'd go back to like, so we really jumped all over the place in that podcast. Yeah. But I definitely want to have him on and hear, like, I think he's got a lot of probably more awesome stories to tell in the ocean.
Yeah, for sure. And I know he's a very busy guy. So in the summer, I think he's probably going to be pretty well committed to all his projects, but maybe we'll get him again in the fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool stuff. So new paper on hybrids of fin whales and blue whales. And then I don't know, I've kind of mentioned this before in the podcast, how I like have a very nerdy list of things that I would like to talk about all the time. And like, it's like 7 pages of possible topics that we are always drawing from. So there was 2 more things about blue whales that I had in our topics bank, I guess you would call it, our list. And so since we were talking about fin whales and blue whales, I figured it'd be good to put these on this episode as well. This next one is from New Zealand, and it's about blue whales, and it's called Temporal and Spatial Lags Between Wind, Coastal Upwelling, and Blue Whale Occurrence. And this is also actually some scientists that were at Oregon State University and in New Zealand. And it's in, let's see, Scientific Reports is the journal that it's in. It's also an open access paper that came out in March. And basically this is the wind to whales theory documented very well with blue whales in New Zealand. I think this might actually be the project where they got the fin whale aerial or the blue whale aerial footage, you know, the drone video.
Oh, the first, like, yeah. I know
with exactly the krill and stuff. I think that might have been this project, but I'm not 100% sure, because I think that footage might have been off of Australia, but I know it was some of the same scientists. So
this is exactly what you and I were just talking about.
Yeah.
The other day. Was this why we were talking about it?
No. I don't know. Well, I don't know.
When I came up with my big theory, when I invented science.
Yeah.
About all the blue whales.
Like, that's already a theory.
All right, hit him with the facts, Katlyn.
So, in general, the wind to whales theory is that in upwelling zones, which are quite windy places, you're going to have the ecosystem, have the water column be stirred up enough to create a phytoplankton bloom, which then sets off a food chain. The animals that prefer like the low end of the food chain, like baleen whales, show up right after the wind. Well, in New Zealand, I'm going to really butcher this name, and I'm so sorry. We should just call Pete to ask him how to pronounce these things. But the South...
Taranaki.
I'm sure it's not Taranaki, but we're going to say that. We should like ask Siri. Taranaki Bight region. They have a pretty good like recording system for wind events. Like they have a pretty good system of buoys and stuff that are recording weather all the time. I mean, a lot of places around the world have that, but they were able to take these models and create these metrics to define quote unquote wind events. And they do a really good explanation of how they determine like when is there a wind event. But basically they looked at the average wind speed for that time frame and then looked at days that were above average for that time frame and called that a wind event. And there's a little bit more specific metrics in there. But basically they would look at a wind event, and then they had hydrophones that they were detecting blue whale calls, primarily D calls, which we did talk a little bit about that with John Calamakitis. And so they would look at the time frame of when there was a wind event and when the decals started showing up in the same area. And it was like this super clear pattern of like within 3 to 14 days, sometimes a little longer than that, after a wind event, blue whales showed up to this area.
So doesn't that almost seem like if you followed where this wind started, almost like you would find blue whales?
I don't know if you could say what direction they're coming in from.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But it's like, how do they know? They just know the krill. Like, how do they hear it? What do they smell?
I mean, you can hear wind underwater.
No, I know, but I guess they hear that like, oh, it's windy over there in New Zealand. We're gonna move. Like,
yeah, I mean, how long can they hear? Like, what distance can they hear the noise of wind over? I don't know. But also, like, how good are they at temperature sensing? And are they picking up some other environmental cues about how food's moving? We just don't know any of that stuff.
We don't know.
But I mean, this is a observed pattern. The whales obviously know. We just don't know how they know.
Taranaki. Yep.
That's probably right. Except our accent.
No, it's bad. Like Taaruh. Taranaki.
Or is it Naki?
No, N-A. It's Taaruhnaakee. Taranaki.
If you're from New Zealand, I'm sorry if we offended you. We're
Google translating.
So yeah, I just thought it was a cool example, and it was new science that just came out in March. Just backing up that wind to whales theory, and like it's just such a clear documented set of events. It's wind above average windy, and then boom, there's blue whales here. So
it's gonna sound crazy, but I mean it just happened in Monterey. It was windy for how many days, and then that one day Adam was up here, we went out and I was able to go see 2 blue whales. Someone found 2 blue whales.
Yeah.
And 2 more blue whales were seen off Big Sur that day. We haven't talked about it because we haven't talked about any sightings.
Yeah.
But it's just like, so now I can't be mad at the wind, you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. You have to just accept that it's a necessary part of the ecosystem. Do you not remember? I used to say that on the phone all the time at Discovery. Like, it's great for the ocean, but it's bad for us to go out on the boat.
Yeah, that's true. You did say that. Actually, when you just said that, it brought back some deja vu. All right.
I think one of the clearest wind to whales events I ever experienced in Monterey, actually, that project Jody and I are doing with Wild Monterey Bay, we interviewed Ted, and this is his story for the project, except I have like the whole month version of it myself, real time. In June of 2016, 15, I can't remember, one of those 2 years, it was windy the whole month. We didn't get out for an afternoon trip the entire month of June.
How it is right now.
And we didn't get out for 4 whole days in June because it was so windy. But the second week of July, I'm not kidding, 200 whales showed up.
Oh, you're talking some good language to me right now. It's not that bad. And also, knock on wood, because I have a trip on the 18th.
Work 4 hours, and we'd go home and like need to take a nap because we were so beat up from the boat. And like, I was just like, I'm so sick of it. And by the end of June, the whales seemed to be sick of it too. Like the humpbacks were just sleeping. Like we waited 20 minutes for humpback whales that month because they were taking a nap, and they literally came up in the same spot. And I was like, even the whales are tired of the wind.
That's funny. We had a day like that the other day. It was like it was every single person across the bay that had a humpback legit was on the radio. Like, these whales are asleep. Like, I don't know if it's because of the wind or anything, but that did happen the other day. But don't you talk about the wind, because I have a trip on June 18th. And since I'm plugging myself, I have 5 spots left. Yeah, it's going to be in the morning. It leaves really early too, 7.
Oh, okay. It's a really early one. That's good, because then you'll.
That's what I did. Yeah.
If there's going to be any weather, you'll be ahead of it.
It'll be like the last 2 hours of the trip if there is any. So it's perfect.
And hopefully you'll be mostly on your way home by then. So.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be at Davidson Seamount looking at turkeys.
Wait, what? So June 18th, you have 5 seats left?
Yeah. And then,
so if you want to go whale watching in June with Slater, definitely book it through him.
Katlyn's invited, but she's never going to come. Maybe someday.
Yeah, it's only a week away. I can't. Okay, so last paper / report that I have. I think I actually got this from the research group that's in the Philippines. Let me look up their name. It's like Baylena or something, which I think is like an acronym for whale in Tagalog. Where's their thing?
Are you looking at this journal of the threatened taxa?
Yes. But the research group's name is in there somewhere. Balyena.org. So BALYENA.org. I think is where I actually got the report from. It's a cetacean research group in the Philippines because, believe it or not, there are cetaceans there.
Can you say the blue whale's science name?
Balanoptera musculus.
What is this Linnaeus? Is that part of it?
Linnaeus. There are quite a few different subspecies.
Okay.
Of blue whales, which we did talk about, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 episodes ago.
Like Sri Lankan ones.
Yeah, there's pygmy blue whales. There's 3 or 4 different subspecies of blue whales themselves, which actually this report talks about a little bit. So basically, this is first confirmed sightings of blue whales in the Philippines since the 19th century. So during the 1800s, there are some whaling records of blue whales in the Philippines, but there haven't been any reports of blue whales since 1900, basically, until 2004. So there was confirmed sightings in 2004. One was a mom calf pair and another one was a single adult. And then since 2004, there have been 33 sightings of single adult blue whales around the Philippines. But if you look at like the Philippines on a map, and if you kind of know where all the subpopulations of that are officially documented of blue whales are, the Philippines is at the intersection of 4 blue whale populations: the North Indian Ocean, the Southeast Indian Ocean, the North Pacific, and the Southern Ocean. So like, where the heck are these blue whales from? And then also, not only are there blue whale populations that this is a intersection between, there also are 3 subspecies of blue whales that it could be, because of where the Philippines is between the ranges of those 3 subspecies of blue whales. So the Southern Ocean blue whale is a subspecies, the North Pacific is a subspecies, and the Indian Ocean is a subspecies. So it's like, what is going on? And then there's one whale in particular that has been seen 13 times in an 8-year time frame, 13 times in 8 years. So like, this one whale really likes this area off the Philippines. And one of the sightings.
So if they biopsy it, can they tell what kind of subspecies it is or no?
They might be able to, but I don't remember reading anywhere in the report that they've had an opportunity to biopsy. I think they've only had an opportunity to survey and photograph.
Yeah, you might get a sighting of it, but it's not like you're doing research that day. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, and it also is like, do you have funding and equipment and a lab to process this stuff in? You know, like that stuff's pretty expensive. So yeah, right now it just looks like it's visual data. And one of the like kind of odd reports, in 2011, there was a film crew, like a local TV crew on the water, and I don't really know what they were filming. It's like this show called Born to Be Wild, but they happened to find this blue whale and film it for the show, and the blue whale pooped. So like, the whale's eating while it's there. Funny. So that kind of answers part of the question, like, what's the whale doing there? Well, it must be finding some food. And if you look in the Bohol Sea, it's like a short continental shelf and like some deep water and some upwelling happen there. So it kind of further puts evidence towards like, this could be a feeding location for blue whales. It's just not very well surveyed, and it's not very well studied. So kind of interesting. Based on the information that they've gathered since 2004. The most likely theory is that it's a blue whale from the Australian Indian stock. So I think that's the Southeast Indian Ocean population.
Is that a pig? Are those pygmy blue whales?
No, it would be a blue whale. But they can't rule out pygmy blue whale because of the estimated size. So
because they have pygmy blue whales, it's in the Indian Ocean and South Pacific Ocean, right?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so there's some back and forth in the discussion section about that, but they have dorsal fin and like laterally and fluke ID that one individual that's been sighted a bunch of times. So pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, if you would have said, are there blue whales off the coast of the Philippines? I probably would have told you no until I read this report.
There's whale sharks there though, right?
Yes. Yes. So then, okay. So that was the other thing that I had actually pulled up while I was, thinking about the upwelling and stuff is like off the coast of the Philippines, you can see whale sharks. They are eating krill. And then also like sometimes in the Philippines, krill is served as part of a dish.
It is in Iceland as like a cream cheese kind of.
Yeah, this is like a fish paste thing, but I've also had people that are Filipino tell me that they had like fried krill and eaten it. So, you know, obviously there's krill there, so there's something for the whales to eat.
Yeah, look, krill spread.
Yeah,
you spread it on like toast and crackers.
That sounds so gross.
I'm pretty sure I tried it.
I mean, I guess maybe some people eat lox on their bagels, but I also think that's gross. So who am I?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
that wraps it up
we just learned a bunch.
Yeah, we did.
What we do. That's what I do when I talk to you. Just learn. And I'm sure there's about 6,844 more topics of blue whale stuff down here somewhere.
No, that's all the recent blue whale ones that we hadn't covered yet that are in the list. But you know, if I find more, you'll hear about it, I'm sure.
You know that year you told me about where I think it was just like 15 or 14 or something before I moved up here, where you had like, you said like 100 blue whales and humpbacks and like fin whales all off of, not 100 blue whales in particular, but like there was hundreds of.
There was in May of, it was either 2016, 15 or 16. Actually, it happened both seasons. But
it was like a year before I moved here, 2 years before I moved here.
Yeah, the year
15 or 14.
The first year was huge. It was like 75 blue whales, plus there was fin whales and humpback whales. They started out like on kind of the northwest slope of the canyon, just past the Soquel, and then slowly moved out offshore up towards Santa Cruz and Davenport over the course of like 10 days or something. But it was like, there was always a blue whale at the surface, like as far as the eye could see when you were in the middle of the aggregation. And it was that year that the helicopter company was doing blue whale tours from Watsonville.
Will it ever happen again? I had that year. You saw it. When was it? It was like November or something. I don't even know. May. When was that film? When did I film it? When? You know what I'm talking about? That? No, not that. It was the night. My favorite night. The one with the white-sided and the blue whale.
Oh, that was in the fall, wasn't it? I think it was like September or October. I felt like it was like
it was in the fall because it was sunset, and like that's when we're out at sunset.
We were still doing sunset cruises, so it had to be like probably mid-September.
So
in 2017.
But there was like everybody claimed like 50 blue whales. I mean, is it accurate? I don't know. There were so many humpbacks too, but it's like
that was the same year that all through the winter we had blue whales from 2017 to 2018, and you guys saw the breaching blue whale on New Year's Day.
Not me, but someone saw it.
Yeah.
So where was I going with that? Sorry.
I don't know. You're wondering if it's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, it's going to happen again. I need that night to happen again. I need it to happen. It's just like nights like that, you can't. It's like
you can't script it. You can't repeat.
Well, no, but you can't even focus. Like you feel like you're getting everything. You feel like you're filming, you're photographing, you're capturing the moment, and then you look back on it and you're like, I could have done 6,000 things differently. I could have done this. I could have done that. I could have.
Or I could have like not done any of those things
and embrace the moment more. Yeah, I was just gonna say you could embrace the moment more.
Yeah.
Or you could just cry. I don't know about it for years to come. I just. I just need a couple more days on the water.
This is what drives Slater. The possibility of photographing something again.
Well, yeah, again, redoing something.
Or for the first time ever.
Yeah, but I think that's after John said that, after John Kalamikiti said that what drives him is like discoverability, right? Like him discovering something new, which he has many times, right? Yeah. And so it's like, for me, it's like, I guess I never like put two and two together, but I mean, you were on, what are the odds you were on the boat with me the day that we didn't discover something new because the record showed
but we documented first time very clearly
a killer whale eating a shark.
That you could identify the species of shark.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, is that going to happen again? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, what if this morning we heard sperm whales on the hydrophone? What if it went out there and there were sperm whales playing with white-sided dolphins, like offshore? You don't know.
For those of you that are Patreon followers, you're going to be able to see Slater's very distraught face during
I'm crying. You just don't know. Well,
that's where we're at with things, you know. Thanks for following along.
Supposedly it was created December 31st of 2018. December. 50 blue whales in December.
That was a weird winter. I remember it being a weird winter.
You're telling me.
So.
All right.
Well, if you made it this far in the episode, what is the secret whale of the week?
What did we do last week? It was it the lonely whale or something?
Was it lonely whale?
I was gonna say pygmy blue whale, but we could switch it up. Let's do
Filipino blue whale.
Filipino blue whale. All right.
Okay, that's our secret whale.
I'm distraught now.
I'm distraught.
Thank you guys for listening.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You thank them. All right, we'll thank them. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Appreciate it if you made it this far. Sorry, Adam was not able to make it, and I know this episode would have been like spazzing out because 1, he saw Flue, and 2, he definitely loves blue whales. And so
it's we'll listen to him spaz out for the next one.
But he'll be on there for the lonely whale episode.
Yeah.
So but thank you guys. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Yes. If you guys aren't busy, feel free to check out our website. It's thewhalenerds.com, and you can find links to our Patreon on there, to our podcast on different platforms, and there's a little about me page about us, and so feel free to check that out.
Yeah, and if you are listening to the podcast somewhere and you are not a subscriber to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe wherever you like to listen. That would be super helpful for us. And it helps us kind of share the podcast with more people. The more subscribers we have, the further it gets pushed out to everybody. So thanks so much. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.